Well, I'm here with Vicki Brackens. Vicki Brackens is the president of Brackens Financial Solutions Network, LLC. Vicki, listen, how you doing?
George, it's been a long week. A very long week.
Yeah. So we're talking today via Zoom because I'm doing some social distancing. You're doing some social distancing. And so this is how we're carrying forward our work, keeping people informed. Now, if they hear us on the radio today, well, that's a recording because I haven't been in the studio for a minute. I'm doing some social distancing. As you know, Vicki, I was at a service not too long ago where someone tested positive for the coronavirus. And so we've been asked to distance I'm voluntarily distancing for the next, until after tomorrow, until after the 29th, just to watch and make sure that everything is okay. So far, so good. So that's what's going on.
Well, okay, you know that we're both in the same boat, George, because we were both at the same service.
I didn't know if you were at that service or not.
Yeah, I came in, ironically, I came in like the last 15 minutes. I was very, very late. And I had been sitting in the parking lot, okay, talking to my mom before I walked in. And
Right.
At the last minute, I decided to come in.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I had to go through the same regimen. So for the same thing, I've been here now for the last, 6 days?
6 days, yeah.
Okay.
And have you even gone outside at all to breathe or anything?
No.
Yeah, see, I've gone out.
Can't wait till tomorrow. Or
Right?
actually Monday. Okay?
Monday, right. That's what Gloria said. After Monday.
Monday, yeah.
Around the block goes, because Gloria doesn't even want me, my dear lovely bride, she don't want me to drive. She's like, I said, can I go in the car with you? She said, no. I'm home. So
exactly.
That's what's going on. But you know what? One of the and let's take a message in all seriousness. As a community, we have got to listen. It was sad that that the mayor of Syracuse had to take the basketball courts down because there was not compliance within the community, and so we know that that's a temporary situation because we've got to get this curve down. So to our community, Vicki, I know you're a voice as well. We have got to listen to what the health authorities and public health officials are saying around this pandemic and do what is required so that we can lessen the impact of this virus.
Absolutely. And I hope that
I just did something you shouldn't do.
What's that?
I just did something. So lesson.
You touched your face.
I did. So lesson number one, don't do what I just did. Don't.
And it's extremely hard to do that, okay? Because our habits and our hand motions and all of those types of things are just a part of of the way we communicate. It really is. Okay.
It just seems like everything's exacerbated now. Now everything itches, everything twitches. So don't do what I just did. And when as soon as we're done with this, I'm running upstairs and I'm going to wash my hands. And I was watching a very interesting video on CNN, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, right? And talking about, like, there was a whole lot more than, like, basically he was saying if you're washing your hands, like, you see, and they was like doing this and then doing the fingers and doing the thumbs and all of that. I was like, that's not what I've done in the past, truth.
No, he said, wash all the way.
Oh, this, right. Yeah, you saw the same thing, right?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
he's
doing
trying
this
to get everybody to understand the basic surgical wash that they use when they go into surgery. He said, you don't have to go all the way up to your elbow.
Right.
But he wants to make sure that you get at least wrist high, because those are the things that we touch most often. I'll tell you the problem I'm having, and I was talking to my brother-in-law, the other day. I was talking to Fred and Tammy, my sister. My hands are so rough and dry right now from all the washing. Okay?
Right.
Trying to find something because my skin feels like leather, okay, at this point in time. and I can't go see my manicurist.
Right.
Okay.
Your hair. Listen, note to Governor Cuomo, hairstylists are essential workers. Right? We all gonna be looking, look, God forbid, and prayers to families. We're trying to find some levity in what is really a very intense situation.
It is.
Come on, y'all. Yo, we need, I don't know if I'm gonna laugh.
I don't think I've ever known you that long. For your hair to be that long, George. Okay. But anyway, for the impact that we are trying to effect, the inconvenience that we're talking about, that we're laughing about right now, is really nothing that's going to change our lives. But it would change our lives dramatically if we lost loved ones, or caused an acceleration when we have the control to actually do the opposite by following the rules and following what we're being asked to do. So yes, my hair's gonna look a little funny for a while, and yes, my nails are not gonna be perfect for a while, and yes, my skin may be a little drier than normal, but to make sure that this community and this state and this nation actually weathers this storm with the least amount of devastation, it's well worth the sacrifice to make that happen.
And I encourage, and you know what? We're all learning how to do some things different, like do this, right? I mean, who would have thunk? I mean, I've often thought about this, Vicki, like what will our lives be on the other side of this? When we talk about social distancing, because at the same time, we also know that we need human touch. We need affection, right? I mean, studies show you need at least 8 hugs a day. How soon will we resume our regular routines? And also from as the money person in our conversation, what adaptations have people made in the meantime? Like, for example, our church, they've got a giving platform that they didn't have before, right? What are some of the other, in the times like this, when you think about what was born out of the Great Depression, and I know we're not in that right now, but for example—
Exactly. Say that again. We are not in the Great Depression.
We are not in the Great Depression, but we know that during even the times of great sacrifice, some really creative things that happened. Wasn't Disney created during like the end during the Depression or something like that, or whenever?
Okay, but
I don't remember.
What you're referencing is, I mean, like, in fact, I sent out a piece to everybody last week on the fact that the theory of relativity and Sir Isaac Newton's all of his inventions actually and discoveries took place during a time of quarantine.
Right.
And because we have something happening, and you wouldn't think about lives during that time period being that complicated. But life is always pushing on us to be involved and moving. And when we are forced to sit back and reflect, clarity comes.
Yes.
Clarity comes. And so this time period, while we're right now learning to unwind and appreciate the people, things, and opportunities, and just the being that we are, will bring a level of, I believe, of clarity that will move us forward to the next phase of what humanity and the humankind is going to be. You are absolutely right. There are going to be, this is what many of us are starting to see. This is a defining moment in time.
Yes, it is. And as I was listening to you, I'm thinking about what, just in terms of the new opportunities and the new, what will be the birth of this moment and what new will be created in this moment. And at the same time, we do have to stop the pandemic. And the only way we're going to stop it is if we wash our hands, don't touch our face, make sure that we socially distance. And if you're out with folk in, grocery store, I was telling the story to my family. I was in the grocery store and this dude was complaining about all of this and all the precautions. I was like, dude, back up off of me, yo. Like, back up, don't get away from me. Because I'm like, he stepped closer and I stepped a little bit away because I'm actually trying to do this. So, but I want to say this message to our community, especially our youth. This is a very important time for us. And also to check on folks, make those phone calls. Text are cute, but people want to hear your voice.
Yes.
On the phone.
Yes. At this point in time, more things that we can do.
I did it again.
Maintain. You did. You scratched your head. Maintain human connection.
But this is why this is so hard. I'm glad this is happening in real time, because that's why it's such so instinctual. So no, stop,
Okay.
no. But yeah, I've been FaceTiming my mother every day,
Mm-hmm.
sure
Me
that
too.
we talk, right? You know,
Right.
and there are all different kinds. If you don't have Apple to Apple phone, you can do WhatsApp. Is a nice app that you can talk to. And actually, WhatsApp is good because you can also talk to people out in other parts of the world.
Right.
WhatsApp is good for that. Also, Google Duo is another platform that you can use. That's what the Android people could do to talk to each other, and also Apple to Android people use Google or WhatsApp. WhatsApp will take care of everybody all at once, and so.
So I want to, you were talking about some money things. So I was, we're getting constant letters and notifications from all of the service providers around town. I got one actually from National Grid last night. I don't know if you turned on the page, onto the back page, page 2, but it said that there are some scams out there related to COVID that are associated with individuals saying that they're here to collect overdue balances from National Grid.
Really?
Okay, and in some cases promising that if you pay the bill right now, they won't disconnect the service and will also give you a discount. So here's the important thing. National Grid, says they never demand direct payments through the use of prepaid debit cards and never accept payments through these cards. So do not let anyone call you and tell you that if you send in a prepaid debit card or pay through this type of system, that this is a legitimate form of payment with National Grid. It is not. So we talked about this last week. Unfortunately, when we are in times of stress like this, scammers come out.
Yes, they do.
Do not be fooled. If you have any question, any doubt, go back to the source yourself to be sure that this is correct. The other thing I want to remind everybody of, George, is April 1st is the beginning of the census.
Yes. Oh.
Everybody must be counted. Okay?
Did you do yours already, Vicki?
I'm doing mine tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay? I have that blue and white envelope that came. Go in, make sure that I'm fully compliant, and that we get everything done as far as the census is concerned.
I got to tell you, it's pretty easy. They're going to add, there's a code on the front of your envelope, and you're going to need that because that automatically puts your address in. If you don't have that code, then you have to, it's 1 or 2 more steps. Then they're going to ask you, who's in the house? No, they're going to ask, who are you? And then who else is in the house? And then they're going to ask you, what's the relationship between you and whoever that is? And you got to do all of that. And then that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Who is
that
person?
Okay.
And is
I understand it should only take about 5 minutes. Okay.
That's 5 minutes. It's just you. I feel.
Okay.
It took more than 5 minutes. It's more like 15 to be honest with you, because it took longer because there's a lot of people for me to count.
That's right.
So
Patrick household is
right, Vicki. It might take you 5 minutes.
Okay.
Because there's a lot. My list was long.
Good.
I'm entering date of births for what's that?
Right.
So I have. So yeah, you're a 5 minute person, Vicki.
I'm a 5 minute entry.
Yeah, you're a 5 minute, and I had a little bit long time. So yeah, it depends on how many people you're counting.
Okay, so I also want to remind everyone that during this time that we have, as far as our local quarantine, and if that should expand to even more, a more expansive type of quarantine, being the state or something of that nature, to be sure that you are paying attention to any notices, that you're paying attention to your cash flow, that you're paying attention to the amount of cash that you have on hand, so that you can weather any, or as far as what you put aside to weather through this storm. But I was listening to a tape or a YouTube presentation from Simon Sinek, and who is a coach that many people in business have been involved and understand but he talks about the infinite versus the finite mind. Finite mind meaning, hey, that we're looking at only at today. Infinite, we're looking at toward the future. And as we continue to look toward the future, it will reveal to us the things that we need to do in order to change, to be available for and productive in the future. This is the time for us to reflect on those types of things. As business owners, because business will not be the same when this is over. We have to continue to evolve in order to meet what the world is when this is over, so that we can move forward. And it really, if you think about it, this is an acute time period, but life is always evolving. Businesses are always evolving. It's when we get stuck and looking backwards, trying to preserve a system or a stance that no longer is applicable to the world, where the world is going, is how businesses disappear. So right now we have an acute situation because it was such a rapid change. George, I was looking at my photos. 30 days ago, you and I were standing at the Marriott celebrating the 12th annual Black History Month Jazz Cabaret.
And if
That's
it was
only how long it's been, okay?
And if it was today, that would not have happened.
That is correct. Okay?
Isn't that something?
That is correct. Okay.
Amen.
So because the change was so rapid and so compact, and it was all squeezed into such a short period of time, we haven't decompressed enough to think about how do we change to adapt to the world that will be in front of us. But this is a perfect time for us to plan, for us to have those conversations, for us to realize that the jobs that we are doing now, not that your job will leave as far as the person or the company, but the function may change. You must adapt to what the new function is going to be in order to continue to progress. Companies must do the same.
And I appreciate that, but I think that I'm glad you're mentioning that, because you're telling us that we've got to multitask. Because even as we try to figure out for, a lot of us may be displaced right now, our lives have been disrupted. And at the same time, we've got to think about, well, where are we going to be on the other side of this? And that,
where are you going to be on the other side? Exactly.
We're going to have to walk and chew gum, basically.
Yeah, walk, chew gum, and rub your head.
And rub your head. But keep your hands off your face, Vicki.
I didn't touch my face. It was all my head,
but I saw the hand going up. I was like,
okay, it's up here. Okay.
Keep your hands down.
Exactly. Okay.
Right, as my nose is itching, and this is itching, and this is that, Well,
you can take a tissue and rub your nose, George.
Yeah, you know what? I have one right here, too. I'll just do that. Yeah. See,
there you go. Then put it in the garbage can, okay?
Right. There you go.
Okay.
Just did that.
All right.
And then I got to run upstairs now. Oh, wait, no. Look, I got these.
Hand sanitizer?
Look at that.
There you go. All right.
This is not hand sanitizer, but these are.
Oh, those also disinfectant wipes.
Yes. So got these. Look at that.
There you go.
Look.
Oh, right. Okay, everything.
But yeah, this is gonna be your best friend. You know what? This is gonna be your best friend for a minute. These wipes, for a minute, this is gonna be your best friend. This will. You know how we're gonna say, okay, we're gonna go back to normal?
No.
This will have, everybody will have this all the time, everywhere. Yeah. Well, let's see, Vicki. Let's see how this is going. This is our first time trying to do this, and so let's see how we're doing. In the meantime,
okay,
I'm gonna say our plate is full. That's what you're supposed to say.
All right, then. So at this point in time, George, I believe our plate is full. But if you have any additional questions, because our phone number is still working, and you can still reach us either through the phone, area code 315-930-4499, or at info@Brackens, Brackens, FSN.com.
Vicki Brackens is the president of Brackens Financial Solutions Network, LLC, and a registered representative of LPL Financial, member SIPC, and a great supporter of Inspiration for the Nation. Our Zoom edition.
Zoom edition, yes.